Welcome back. Having just done the taster we did on fear a few minutes ago, Alison and I, David was chatting away, probably in his preacher mode, and actually started sharing a few insights. I'm going to ask him to share them with you because I think it's very interesting to think about fear in the way that David was talking about it.
Okay, well, it was just the point we were making about fear, and in a light-hearted way, but to introduce a serious subject in a way, was that if you're on a boat, it's one thing when the passengers are panicking in the middle of a storm and the sea's roaring and all the rest of it, but you know you've got a real problem when it's the captain running around and panicking. And Jesus is with the disciples going across the Sea of Galilee, and there is a ferocious storm, and even fishermen like Simon Peter are afraid. And where's Jesus? Well, he's in the boat, but he's asleep. And he seems to be unaffected by this fear. And the disciples, I guess in their fear, go to him and say, "Rabbi, don't you care if we drown?" And Jesus...
They're quite panicked, aren't they?
They're extremely panicked. And the striking thing is, they know this stretch of water like the back of their hands because they fish it all the time. Yeah. But even they're afraid. Which tells me that this is possibly the most ferocious storm they've been in, and they've never experienced anything like it, and they're afraid of death.
Yeah.
And Jesus, he seems to be disconnected, but he's not, and he says to them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And that's an interesting thing to tease out as Christians, that you can have Jesus with you, you can be in Christ, but you can still be afraid, which is a normal human emotion. And I think one of the tensions for people of faith is sometimes they feel they shouldn't be afraid because it diminishes their faith. But, and I'll say this at the risk of some people maybe criticising, I think that even Jesus experienced fear in the Garden of Gethsemane, because he says on more than one occasion, "Father, if it's possible, please take this cup away from me." Why would he say that? I think it's because he knew what was ahead of him with the cross and all the suffering. In his humanity, he would react as we would react and think, "I don't want this to happen, yet not my will, but yours." Which seems to put Jesus in that place of, this is my Father's will, and in the end, it's going to be well. But it doesn't stop him with that anticipation, even dread of, I think, being afraid as a man. So there we are, and it's a massive subject, and I don't think there's any human being who's ever walked the face of the earth who's not been afraid of something at some time.
I think they're in denial if they say they have. I think this whole subject of fear is touched on multiple times during the emotional and spiritual health and well-being course, particularly in one of the areas that's about stress and anxiety. And maybe next time we'll explore that together. Thanks for listening.